sometimes people have what it takes, but they haven't recognized it yet. Just go forward. So what do you need to do? How do you stand out? So what you need to do is be that person that's different and is bigger than you think. Rise from the ashes and fly like the phoenixes that you are. Welcome everybody and hello. Andrew David, Blake Newbar's partner program. You guys missed it. I had my shirt, tie, and suit on just a minute ago. I had more fun with attorneys and everything else. Always a good time. But always enjoy being here with you guys. And today we're kind of continuing on from conversation from yesterday. So if you missed yesterday, I'm hoping those recordings will be going up in the next few days. I've got somebody actively working on them to try and get that updated on the YouTube channel. So I do realize that it's a little behind right now. I've had a couple people reach out. My video guy is still sick, so I've had to hire somebody else to kind of take care of that. So while that's going on though, so this is the book that we're kind of talking about. It's High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard. Someone said that Lynn, you said you just ordered it. Do you remember how much it was?
$18 on Amazon.
Okay. So $18 on Amazon. I would check Brendon's website as well, guys. Again, a lot of times he sells his books there, but if you do order there, there's a very good chance that you're going to get welcomed into Brendon's sales funnel. He's got a lot of great products and programs. I am not officially endorsing anything. I'm not telling you need to go buy. If you don't want to buy the book, you don't have to, right? If you don't want to buy any of Brendon's stuff, you don't have to. I think it's a great book. I like a lot of Brendon's stuff. So High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard. He's talking about, he did a study with hundreds of very high performers, Fortune 500 individuals, athletes, Olympic athletes, speakers, coaches, all sorts of different people that perform at a high level. And he was looking for habits, looking for things that they did actively, habitually, developing habits that allowed them to increase their level of productivity, their level of success, and everything else. So what he was looking for were things that were not necessarily inherent talents. They were things that these people had to actively work on. Okay. And I talked the other day a little bit about strengths and weaknesses and identifying where you're at, and always pay attention to that. That said, there are some habits that you need to work on. So I'm going to share a quick kind of summary of what we talked about yesterday, and we're going to get moving on a little bit more. So this is an image direct from Brendon's book, High Performance Habits. So seek clarity, generate energy, raise necessity, increase productivity, develop influence, and demonstrate courage. We spent a lot of time yesterday really just kind of talking about the seeking clarity. And one way to do that is to understand first yourself, be intentional about who you want to become and have that vision. Socially, how you want to interact with and intentionally build relationships, the skills that you want to develop based on where you want to be, what you can be intentional about learning, practicing, and growing, the service that you're going to put forth and helping others. And then we kind of have their performance necessity. So we start looking at jumping ahead, social duty, obligation, everything. So I want to get there. The real deadlines goes to, there's just some quotes, some key elements that he talks about here. So real quick, quality of a person's life is in direct proportion to their commitment to excellence. So we talked yesterday a little bit about being average versus being excellent. Pat Riley down at the bottom, famous basketball coach, Hall of Famer, coach of the Lakers during the 80s and early 90s when they were winning everything. To have long-term success as a coach or in any position of leadership, you have to be obsessed in some way. Quit trying to be average. This is from Brendon. High performers often feel the necessity to perform well out of a sense of duty. Someone's counting on you. Michael, Becky, Kim, Todd, somebody's counting on you. Raise your level, understand your responsibility. Okay. Now, real deadlines. So difference between setting a deadline where you have zero control and setting a deadline with something that you've kind of figured things out, right? So a real deadline, a hard deadline, it's a date that matters, because if it's not met, real negative consequences happen. So we talked about this yesterday with the deadlines that a lot of people set with this, where if I don't launch in 5 days, if I don't launch in 10 days, there should not be any major negative consequence, right? If there is, then we're coming from a place of desperation, and then there's issues there, and that's a whole other conversation. What he's talking about is maybe it's work, maybe it's time with the kids, maybe it's something else that's going on relationship wise or professionally, where if I don't meet this deadline, yes, there's consequences, so I've got to do it, as opposed to just, hopefully things get better. set a deadline for yourself, set up your reward, but your consequences as well. Now, little quote from Aristotle, and I don't know if this was the one, was it Scott? Somebody shared a quote yesterday in the Skype challenge group that I've got with you guys. Let me see here. John shared this from Plato. Excellence is not a gift, but a skill that takes practice. We do not act rightly because we are excellent. In fact, we achieve excellence by acting rightly. Goes hand in hand with this one. Excellence is an art won by training and habituation. We do not act rightly because we have virtue of excellence, but we rather have those because we have acted rightly. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. Okay. So question, ladies and gentlemen, we talk about excellence. We talk about average. We talk about being good. Talk about being great. Why are you scared to go to that next level? Why are you scared to put yourself out there? Why are you scared for that next step? Here's a couple of quotes from Brendon that I really like. Work hard, play by the rules, keep your head down, don't ask too many questions, follow the leader, take time to master something that will keep you around. And then here's one, work hard, break the rules, keep your head up, optimists win. Guys, find what fits you. Ultimately, find what fits you. There are rules to be broken. There are rules to be followed. I'm going to give you guys this quote or these slides later on today in the Skype group, but pretend you're not working as hard so your friends are impressed with your leisurely posts and photos at breakfast. But yes, work hard. Don't wait for instruction because there are no rules. Try to keep your head on because it's a madhouse. Ask questions, but don't expect anyone to know the answers. So search for the help, but realize ultimately what I think this boils down to is you're the one in control of your own outcome. And sometimes when we're looking for answers, we say, well, my actions or my results are dependent on someone else giving me those answers. Essentially, I need you, Hassan, I need you, Catalina, I need you to give me permission. I need you to tell me what to do. Don't do that. Keep adapting because tomorrow everything's going to change anyway. Now, a couple of these: seeking clarity, generating energy, raise necessity. Guys, you got to learn how to generate energy in your own life. Any of you feel a little worn down? A little tired? No? We got a bunch of people shaking their heads. No, everybody's good. You're doing awesome. Fantastic. Raise the energy all the time. High performers find ways to raise energy. If you're going into a stressful situation, now this may be, today was the reason I had my shirt tie and everything else. It was a little bit of a stressful situation. Things are moving along, gotta love court systems. Takes forever to get anything resolved. But I knew going in, there's stress involved in any of those situations, right? So first thing I did some stretching, I did some movement, kind of the Tony Robbins, Superman pose, big movements, open my chest up, do all of that. And I followed it with some breathing, right? Deep breaths in, out, breath, work. I followed that with some affirmations. I said a prayer. I got myself where my energy was high. So instead of walking in defeated, and guys, you should be done at work. This should be done if you've had a stressful day at work and you're coming home to your significant other. Take a minute to raise your damn energy. Don't walk in and be an energy vampire. A lot of us are. Don't do that. Don't do that to them. They don't deserve it. And if they're doing it to you, don't walk in and say, you're a damn energy vampire, knock it off. Talk to them about, maybe something you guys can do together to rate, honey, would you like to go for a walk? Maybe we should get some sun. Wouldn't that be great? Tell me about your day. Let's get through that, right? But do everything in your power to bring positive energy into every situation, okay? Make sure that you're not the one struggling there. So most people bleed out energy and intention in the transition between tasks. This is important. So like I was talking about, leaving work, coming home, going from one task into a meeting, working on your stuff, and then sitting down and working on your funnel, you lose energy. Make sure that you give yourself a break every 45 to 60 minutes, do something to re-energize during that time. So how do you improve your personal productivity? This is something that high performers have learned to do. They find a way to separate important from unimportant, right? They put their energy into what is vital. They make what matters matter. They don't waste their time on the other stuff. Coming back to building this, getting this launched, as you get going and doing more things, too many people spend a lot of time worried about the 1s and 2s and 3s on the scale of importance, right? When the 7, 8, 9, and 10s are what's really going to move the needle. And what I mean is, like, the domain, is the email written the right way? You're spending all of this time worried about what family or friends may think. If you actually post something, you're thinking through things too much. Excuse me. You just need to get out there. You need to do more. Brendon, in the book, he talks about PQOs. So he's talking about prolific quality outlets, like those activities that bring about prolific results. Does that make sense, everybody? I'm worn down and going through a stressful time. Let's talk about that, Ann. I appreciate you sharing and being willing to kind of bring that up. It's not easy. I don't know everything about the situation. I think Ann was on the other day while she was trying to fold laundry. Kids are coming in. So she's trying to do all of these things, juggling. And some of you guys can definitely relate to that, right? Kids, family, maybe the husband's not cleaning up after himself, or the wife, or, maybe it's you alone and you're working 3 jobs. Maybe health isn't where you want it to be, which causes more stress. And then that makes things a little bit more difficult at work. And then because work is going a little bit more difficult, you get even more stress, which kind of keeps things flowing like that. So how do I juggle? Okay. Finding ways. Here's the thing. And I want to preface this by saying, like, especially to you women out there, whether you're a mom or not, like, I fully understand that I don't understand every situation. Okay. Can we set that aside? I get it. That said, yeah, like Forrest is saying, we're here, and like sometimes getting around others and getting some of that energy is incredibly beneficial, right? So all I can do is share from my personal experience and people that I've worked with. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do. There's things that I've read, there's things that I've studied, there's things that I've had to learn. I've got 5 kids, and at one point we were changing diapers for 13 straight years. So I get how that is. There's times when you get there and we were homeschooling with 2 other kids in diapers at the same time. And one of the kids was on the autistic spectrum. So there was extra classes and stuff. And so, like, I get some of it. In doing that, in times when I was working cleaning restoration, I was traveling all over the Southeast US and chasing hurricanes and, putting in 80, 100, 120 hours weeks. Point I'm just trying to make is that I felt that stress too. So these are things that I've done, what I've learned to do, what I said just a minute ago, find ways to generate energy. A 5-minute, like, breath work, learning how to breathe, because what happens is when you do that, it almost forces you to stop. You're forcing extra oxygen into your brain and your body. Oxygen is good for you. I don't know if you guys understand that yet. Breathing and oxygen is helpful. So we want to do more of that. Any chance you get to stop and do extra breath work will make a huge difference in your life. I promise. Spend 5 minutes a day just doing extra breath work. It'll mean a lot. I have a handful of songs that I will put on. I will go to the bathroom. And I know this is hard if you got little ones. Find somewhere that you can be alone for a couple of minutes. Lock yourself in your closet. Get into the bathroom. Do something. Walk in and rock out a little bit, right? Find a moment that you're on your prayers. And when you're doing that, whether it's prayers or a gratitude journal or whatever, we have a tendency, when the stress levels are high and we feel overwhelmed, we have a tendency in our meditation, our journals, or our prayers, whichever way that you try and deal with things, where it's simply expressing the stress, the frustration, and the trials and everything else. And it kind of becomes a woe is me type of thing. Don't be unwilling to talk about that, but please make sure that you find time to bring gratitude into it. Those that are high performers, those that achieve a level of success, gratitude is a driving factor. And I'm sure some of you guys would agree with that wholeheartedly. Look at what you're doing and what you've been given and what you've got available to you and where you're at. And I mean, all we have to do at times is just look at what's happening in the world. And as stressful as what we might be dealing with is, I promise there's somebody else that's dealing with something worse right now. Right? So Janine bottles the stressful things inside by talking out loud, telling myself to release it. It sure helps. Yeah, sometimes that's all you need. Let it out. Follow that immediately with some positivity, though. Right? So I've shared before, like, it may seem silly, but write out all the negative, write out all the frustrations, all the problems, everything that's pissing you off, everything that you're angry about. Ball up that piece of paper, take it outside and go burn it, as long as you're in a no burn zone. Or, do like I had talked about with that ring and the blanket and an example that I gave last week, where it was kind of, it was some kind of anchor. It was something that I was holding on to. Write out that stuff, tie all that together and throw it away, get it away from you. Yeah. Punching bag, get to the gym, do something. So if you can find a way to release positive endorphins, punching bag, Stairmaster, cardio, whatever. If you can do something like that, even if it's a 5-minute exercise, right? Something, because it releases positive endorphins. Breath work, 5 minutes, it releases positive. Sometimes just standing, and Tony Robbins has done these studies, sometimes just standing in that superhero pose, hands on your hips, chest out, a couple of deep breaths, that raises those positive endorphins, it raises testosterone, it helps lower cortisol levels. Get out into nature. Yes, you probably haven't had enough vitamin D. And I think if I remember right, it's up in Utah, right? You're probably just getting out of the cold. I'm hoping it's warmed up by now. We're in June. But you probably had a few months where you were stuck inside mostly because of the cold. Get outside. Go outside with the kids. Take them out, right? Get out into direct sunlight. That's one of those things that can help. If things are stressed at a level where those elements aren't doing much, yeah, K2, vitamin D, all of those vitamins. If that's not doing enough and you need to go see somebody, then do it. There are apps that you can find online where you can find some therapists. There's some that will do free therapy. Do it. Find some help, right? Don't bottle it in. And that's one of the things that I'll share some stuff in a second. All right, let me kind of wrap through some of high performance, and then I want to keep going on a couple of things here. Raising your productivity, demonstrating courage. And this is one of the things for high performers. And guys, I'm going to come back to that, but demonstrate courage is one of these elements here. Developing influence, great. Influence people that are around you, I think is what he's talking about, but demonstrating courage. The high performers simply aren't scared of the work or the little bit of fear that comes with things, the uncertainty, right? Live your truth, understand the struggle is real, and that's just part of life. It's part of the struggle or part of the process. You don't have to save the world right away. You don't have to save somebody else's world right away. What you need to do to begin with is start your day and do what you can to be better today for yourself and for those around you today than you were. That's a hell of a lot easy to undertake than some of the other stuff. So yeah, high quality essential oils are great. I've got some right here. I put them on from time to time. All right. Hang on for a minute, guys. For everybody else, once you get to the recording, appreciate you guys being here. Tomorrow we're gonna have some more training. Hold on for just a second. Sometimes people have what it takes, but they haven't recognized it yet. Go forward. So what do you need to do? How do you stand out? So what you need to do is be that person that's different and is bigger than you think. Rise from the ashes and fly like the phoenixes that you are.